Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to discuss about another very important topic of SVG, that is masking. You might heard about this concept along with clipping because they are oftenly related things. Like people always discuss about masking and clipping together, but there are some differences also. So that's why we discussed the clipping process in the previous session, and now we are focusing on the masking concept. Okay, so by the end of this session we will be able to understand how masking is work, and also we will understand the differences between masking and clipping. Okay, so we will follow the same process. I'll explain you the code from scratch, then we will try to implement the thing and on browser, and also show you the required output. Okay, but before we start the discussion, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be very easy for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just focusing on mainly on the masking concept. Okay, now if we talk about the code is very simple and straightforward. Here we have just noted down the heading. Here you can see the heading, which is HTML1 by Sharmit, and there is one title which is Sharmit. Clear? So this is the thing that we are going to use. Now what we will do, we will put one more heading here for today's topic, and the topic is masking in SVG. Okay, so this is the topic, masking in SVG. Now what we will do after this we will write the code to implement the masking concept. But before, let's discuss what is masking, because we are talking about so much about the masking, but what exactly this is. So masking is a HTML SVG concept which allows you to hide or reveal a parts of image or shape using another shape. Let me repeat it for you. So whenever you want to hide or reveal some portion of the image, or maybe the shape or the graphic shape that you have created, then in that case you will utilize the concept of masking, because it is the only functionality that, not only because we know about the clipping method, right, but this is the one of the functionality that we can use to hide or reveal the parts of image or shape using another shape. Clear? And again, I want to mention it here that yes, it works similar to clipping, but there are some differences, like they provide the functionality to use gradients and transparency, but in case of clipping there is no option to use for clipping and transparency, not to implement that. Clear? So I think now the definition is clear, what is masking and why masking is important. So masking is nothing but a concept which allows us to hide or reveal a part of an image or shape using another shape. Whereas if we talk about the clipping, yes, it is also used for the same, but they are not providing the functionality to include the gradient and transparency. Clear? Alright, so I think now theoretical wise we are okay. Now it's time to see the practical thing. So right now output is coming like this. So as we are talking about SVG, so let's add the SVG here. So I'll add SVG. In SVG we will provide width, height, and the required thing. So let me put the width. In width we will put simple, we will write here width equals to maybe 1000 pixel. Then we will set the height would be 500 pixel. Then we will apply style, border 5px solid black. Now you can simply save this and refresh the browser. So once you refresh the browser, you will see that one SVG screen has been added. Now what is this SVG screen? Actually this is not a screen, this is just a scalable vector graphic on which we can draw the required shapes to learn and understand the other SVG related concept. You got my point? That SVG is used to, and it is not always fixed that we have to use all these things in a same way. Like you can change the width and height if it is needed, because it is not mandatory that you have to use the same portion again and again. It is up to you. Like if you want to change it, yes, you can change it. Clear? Fine. So I think now we are good to start with the other things. Like we know about the SVG, so it's time to apply the SVG related stuff on code, masking related. Okay, so let's add one more element here, and that element is defs, because we know that to define anything we will use the defs element. Clear? So we are using defs here. Now in this def we will define the actual shape or the place that we want to mask. So let's define the mask here. Here we will write mask. In mask we will provide the ID through which we will apply the concepts. So here I will apply the mask as ID equal mask1. Clear? Then we will apply one rectangle here. So write rect. In rectangle we will apply some x position, y position, and I'm assuming that you know this thing because these things we have already discussed multiple times. So x, y, then we will apply a width which is 100, then we will apply height which is 50, then we will apply fill, and here I'll use the fill color as white. Clear? Fine. So we are ready with this thing. Now we are ready with mask, so it's time to define another thing, which is the shape where we are going to apply this masking concept. So just after this defs we will define the rectangle where we want to apply this thing. So I'll just simply write here rect. In this rect we will write x equals to 0, then y equals to 0, and then width of the rectangle which would be 100. After this we will write here height would be 100 again, and we will fill this with none. Fill equals to none. Now you can save it and refresh the browser. So once you refresh you will see that there is nothing coming over here. Why? Because we have not applied the masking yet. We have just defined it. So it's time to apply this masking here. Okay, so before that let me simply go here. Instead of none, what we can do, we can simply remove this thing from here, and we will write here fill equals to red. Okay, here I'll just go and we will make it as fill equals to red. Let me redo this thing. Here we will simply make it to red. Okay, once you make it red, now you can refresh it and you can see that one rectangle has been coming over here with a red color. Now on this rectangle only we will apply the masking. So for that I will use mask element, mask attribute here, and then we will apply the URL, which is URL, and then ID would be mask1, which we have already defined. Make sure to provide in the same case, otherwise it won't work. Now you can save it and refresh the browser. So once you refresh the browser you can see that half portion has been now removed. Why? Because this is masked. We use this thing, so that's why it is masked here. To see it properly, what we will do, we will use another rectangle just for the border purpose. Okay, so here I'll apply the same thing, like x equals to 0, y equals to 0, width would be 100, height would be 100, then here we will set the fill equals to none. Okay, and then we will apply the stroke just to show the difference. Stroke would be black. Perfect. Now you can save it and refresh the browser. So once you refresh the browser, now you can see that this half portion is masked by mask functionality. Clear? So this is how we can use the masking concept in SVG. Now some of you might be thinking, like we have discussed about clipping, it is also same kind of things. Then what is the difference between masking and clipping? So there is a different, I'll tell you each and every different from this. The first difference is support of transparency. Yes, so in case of masking, it allows us for smooth fading effect with gradient. That's why it supports the transparency, but in case of clipping it is not supported. Similarly, it supports the gradient. Yes, you can use gradient and images, but in case of clipping, gradients are not supported. If we talk about the performance, it is masking is slightly heavier because it involves alpha blending, but in case of clipping it is faster because it just crops the shape. Clear? So these are some differences between masking and clipping. So I hope this session is clear to all of you. In the next session we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.